Hello, all. Louise Eddington, Cosmic Owl Astrology, your Wisdom Weaver and Cyberpunk Priestess to the stars. I'm feeling all spicy today, and I've got my new orange dress on. Um, uh, uh, I felt really bad all last week. I had been sick, recovering from this virus, and I made the mistake of getting my flu and COVID shots before I'd fully recovered. I know better, but hey, I'm better now. I'm like ready to go. I've done my boxing, done my walking this morning. But I just would like to remind everybody that the registration, or whatever you want to call it, for my newly redesigned and newly kind of spiced up membership, which is now really more as a mentorship portal for not just astrologers, but all kinds of practitioners who want to grow their practice, but also grow their astrology knowledge and how to integrate other practices into their work, whether their primary work is something else and they want to integrate some astrology into it. And it's really a holistic kind of portal for support and growing your practice in whatever way means for you. It's not a membership for those that just want to come and meet, give a reading. I do have a lighter touch membership for that. You can join that for $9.99 a month here on YouTube. You can also join that on Substack, or you can join it on my website, because though each of those spaces, you will get a link to join my personal private membership portal for $9.99 a month, where we have one Ask Me Almost Anything call a month every first Thursday. If that hugely grows, I will probably add another call. And because I'm getting set up finally in this big shift I've been going through, you'll get other things as well. But the portal I have set up now for this Spiral Weave membership is a community. But if you are looking for something deeper about growing your practice, where you get access to my Astrology 101 course that's self-paced, you can go over and over things. And each week we have a call, we have weekly calls where we go over all kinds of things. We have them themed each week, but with this space to go out of that as well, according to the needs. There's more to it, but But anyway, the doors are officially open to November the 15th. But because I am doing a 10K run for the food bank, and I keep seeing all these videos from food banks with people saying that the numbers of families coming to them has doubled right now. I am going to leave the offer open till November the 22nd, 5 days before my 10K. So for those that would like to join the Spiral Codex, usually 55 a month or 600 a year. 6 months minimum commitment. So you can join at 55 a month for 6 months, or get an even better deal for joining for a year. You will get a 25% discount if you sponsor me for at least $50. So all the links are going to be in the description below. All you need to do is sponsor me for my 10K, then send me an email saying, hey, I would like the discount codes to join the Spiral Codex, please. Easy peasy, right? All right, so on with the week ahead forecast. So this just feels like the best way I can help us to help other people, all those things all at the same time. So I pulled cards. We're going to do the week ahead forecast. Where are my cards? I'm like in a mess because things are kind of spicy here at the moment. I've actually lost my cards. I will find them in a moment because I just had a call and just actually hired a virtual assistant. So I will find the cards to show you in a minute, but the first card I pulled was the Goddess of Threads. Okay, so I think I may have put them, yeah, over here. All right, Witch of Threads. for the first card for the week. We'll look at the full card reading at the end. Death card, which is death and rebirth. Please do not, get all like, oh my God, it's going to be death. There's so much Scorpio this week that I'm not surprised we get death card. That's the Scorpio card. Two of Cups, lovely card to finish the week. And I also pulled the Witch card from the Witch Oracle deck, and that card is here. Oh, that's the back of the card. Number 1, the Witch card. Woman in total control of herself, from the Witch Oracle deck by Angie Sullins and art by her husband or partner, Silas Tobal. I do not know if they're married, but they're husband and wife in spirit, let's say. I don't think legal marriage, I don't think the state should be involved in marriage anyway. People want to be married, they can be married. Anyway, what a week we have ahead. So a couple of things to start with. Pluto, as we start the week on Sunday, November the 16th, is back to 23 degrees, 27 minutes declination south, which is the point where it's going back in bounds. I've talked about it on other videos. Pluto is going out of bounds every year for a couple of months a time until 2032. And this is for the last time in thousands of years because of the Earth's tilt and everything changing. Still trying to get hold of Rosie Finn to get her on my podcast, but her book Persephone's Revolution talks about it. You can see a lot of interviews with her, but Pluto is going out of bounds every year until 2032, going south of the ecliptic. And she said that means the rising up of the people. So this is adding to people rising up right now. Okay, so I think that's how enough about declinations. Yep. All right, so let me share the chart, and I'm going to try and move through this quite efficiently and quickly, but not without missing anything. So it's quite the week, honestly. Oh, one other thing, though, I did want to share before we start is, did you see the auroras last night? Oh, my goodness. Now, I am actually going to just show you some pictures on my Facebook. I'm going to share them. We could see them from our yard, but they were not the brightest, but we could see them with the naked eye. This is the first time we've ever been able to see them. So how do I share this without? Well, I'm just going to share the photos. I don't want you to see my whole friends, everything, but because it was private. But these are her daughter's photos, friends only. So my friend is Julianne. She's a really good friend. This is her daughter, lives in Yellowstone National Park. And look at these. Oh, I guess they were all making a video there. But anyway, the aurora were amazing. But what that means is the sun is doing these massive solar flares right now. We are at solar maximum anyway. I've talked about that endlessly before. And yesterday, so just to go back over it, we had a solar flare that was rated, I'm sure it was an X 1.5. I follow somebody and he keeps saying it was a 5.1, and I'm like, really? Was it a 5.1? I think if it was an X 5.1, we'd probably all be like wiped out, because what happens with solar flares is that the sun flares. If it's Earth pointing, it causes this geomagnetic storm that shoots coronary emissions to CMEs, they call them, towards Earth, okay, and that causes the auroras, but that also can cause blackout, radio blackouts, you know, all kinds of things like that. And this one was what's called a ground level event. That means this solar storm hit the ground. So it's huge and strong. It's energetically strong. It's some people are experiencing headaches. I'm experiencing it as real lots of excitement, which is why I'm a bit hyperactive today. I tend to react quite well to these solar storms. Maybe it's because I'm a fire sign. I don't know. But, you know, you are going to feel it in some way, and the earth is feeling it. So I do want to say that this is very intense. No, it was an X 5.1. He's right. Sorry. I apologize to who's saying it. It was an X 5.1 solar flare hurled by Sunspot 4274, which hurled a fusillade of energetic protons towards Earth, and some of the particles are so powerful they're penetrating the atmosphere all the way to the ground. This is a very significant event. We're really detecting it. Stefan Burns does great videos on these on YouTube if you want to find these. But ground level events are of this magnitude are rare. They happen only once or twice every solar cycle. So it's about a once in 20-year event. So it's comparable to one that happened on December the 13th, 2006. Okay. So there's, you know, we're getting all this solar radiation kind of thing in many ways and things. This is very intense energetically. So please drink lots of water, kinds of things like that. Things have quietened down at the moment. We have this KP index, which a lot of people follow at the moment. Spaceweather.com says it's quiet, I think. So let me have a check. No, it doesn't. I had to go back to today. We've got the KP index is currently at 5.33. It was up to 8.67, which is high. There's also more potential for more solar flares today. So we're having smaller ones at the moment. But Stefan Burns said that these solar flares were all approximately 25 hours apart. So we're about at that. We're heading towards that now, really. So we'll see. We'll see if we have more. But either way, the auroras were amazing and beautiful. But know that these things impact us energetically too. And we're heading into this amazingly intense new moon. I did a whole new moon video. I'll go into more detail as we go through this week. But wow. Okay, this is just what a week energetically. In addition, we also have Comet Atlas approaching its closest point to Earth and a couple of other things. So I'll talk about those. So, whew. And we also start the week with Mercury retrograde. I'm only going to look at the most significant energies. So we've got Mercury retrograde, Saturn retrograde, Neptune retrograde, Ceres stations direct this week, Chiron retrograde, Eris retrograde, and Uranus retrograde. So this, and Jupiter is just stationed retrograde, so Jupiter's retrograde too. And Hygeia, an asteroid, but a couple of other things. But wow, this is intense, okay? So if you're feeling like overwhelmed energetically, that's why there's a lot of techie things going wrong. And it's not just the Mercury retrograde, but a lot of it is here to kind of wipe out some old stuff and bring in the new. So I'll talk more about this as we go through the week. So that's where we start the week here, with Uranus just back in Taurus. Uranus is also this week at its closest point to Earth because it's getting a sun opposition. Mercury is the opposite. So no, Mercury is closest to Earth, beg your pardon, and Uranus is also. So because they're retrograde, they kind of their impact is more powerful, especially when they connect with the sun, which they both do this week. So Sunday the 16th, moon starts in Libra in Venus sign. Venus is quite active this week also. And the moon starts, let me just tell you the aspects that the moon will do each day. The moon will trine Pallas Athena, the strategist and wise justice warrior. The moon will also sextile Hecate over here, the way shower, and then Juno, the sacred contract asteroid in Sagittarius. This is all fire and air, by the way. The moon will then trine Chariklo, the spinner of grace and also space holder for us to do the healing from the inside out. They are the major lunar aspects today. All of them speak to me about this rising divine feminine energy and also this energy of saying we can create this new future if we choose to change our perspectives. Talking of perspectives, the biggest aspects of the day are, first of all, that the sun here in Scorpio still will square off exactly to asteroid Lilith in Aquarius, who I call talk to the hand Lilith. She's like a rebellious teenager. She's saying, no, you're not putting me in the corner. This is a theme that is coming up over and over again. And Mercury will exactly trine Ceres, which is stationing direct this week, so is really potent as well. And Ceres is stationing direct at the Venus star point from March the 22nd, when the Sun and Venus met, when Venus was retrograding, right as Venus is about to go into the Sun's beams and disappear from our view for days, for a long time. Oh, let's put my hand up again. Now then, if you've got my book on Ceres, and if you have, please leave me a review on Amazon. But if you haven't got it, go buy it. But anyway, if you've got it already, the Roman pantheon of gods and goddesses paired Mercury and Ceres. They kind of have this boundary crossing kind of energy. Mercury being the planet closest to the sun, Ceres being the furthest out planet from the sun before we really hit the asteroid belt, which I see as like a protective circle around us, because Ceres is a personal planet in my view. So these two are speaking to each other at a really potent point. And this is in fire energy, which is the energy of passion, creation, doing. And in Sagittarius, this is the future, visionary. But Mercury is retrograde and revisiting and redoing and rethinking a lot of things. Whereas Ceres is going, it's time for me to make sure I take care of my own needs first, and then I can help others, and we can do all this. Okay. But there was something else I wanted to say, I think. Nope, that's it. Well, I did want to mention, though, that Mercury aspecting Ceres and Venus going into the underworld is going to this week bring Venus, Ceres, and Pluto together in various ways. And the three of them met at 0 Aquarius on December the 7th, 24. And there's another aspect that's being activated this week, again, that also began on 0 Aquarius, but that began on December the 21st, 2020. I did a video called Fools and Lovers on my YouTube channel with Dawn Hild. We talked about the 0 degree mark. It's a hot degree. Anyway, we start the week with all this fire and air bringing like whoosh ideas. And in the you cannot make this up aspect, Mercury trine Ceres and all this fire and air, and the moon in the sign of justice. Emails have been released from the Epstein files that talk about Trump a lot. You can go and look at it. No doubt Kathy and I will talk about this more on Friday. I think there's more to come. But, this is, I think Mercury, all the energies we've got now, I've been saying, oh, I won't be surprised if there's names being released or files being released or more things coming out. It's started. Okay, on to the 17th. You still have the moon in Libra until 4:44 p.m. Eastern. We're really in the dark of the moon now. The new moon phase is about 3 days, okay? And so the moon is within 30 degrees, less than a sign away from the sun. We are in the new moon right now, in the dark, okay? Seed planting, but also digging into what needs to come out. The sun on the 17th will exactly perfect this ongoing water grand trine. And really, because Uranus is back in Taurus, this is making a kite. Uranus is a really potent planet during this period as well, for lots of reasons. You'll see that Uranus gets aspected over and over again. It's also Uranus' last time in the sign of Taurus for about 84 years, because never again will Uranus be in our lifetimes in the sign of Taurus. But we've got Jupiter over, so the sun will aspect Jupiter, which is just stationed retrograde. It's retrograded at 2509, and then will aspect Saturn exactly, which is at its station direct degree, and it will station direct at 2509. I can't believe they're stationing it at the same minute. But this is the most powerful water grand trine. But it's emotional, but it's eroding, it's washing things away, it's tuning us into this flow and intuition more. Water is all about floating and intuition and that knowing. Water signs are extremely intuitive and creative and deep feeling. And these are all energies that have been belittled and taken out, or like the F your feelings kind of thing. And women have been diminished because they are supposedly more emotional. I often find men are more emotional. You get the idea. This water grand trine is really kind of digging into that and saying, no, feelings are important. Right? Okay, as we bring us into this more balanced age, or we're invited into. Then the moon, I'll just go through the moon aspects. First, on the 17th, the moon will oppose Chiron. Then, of course, the moon will also oppose Eris, but in the meantime, the moon will also aspect asteroid Lilith. And you can see all of these energies at 24, 25 degrees. The moon is going to aspect all of those. I did leave the galactic center in, but the moon is really the activator every month of bigger patterns. So the moon in Libra is about justice. We just had a judge here in Utah argue in favor of campaigns by League of Women's Voters, by a proposition where we got major signatures for a ballot initiative to redistrict the state of Utah, to stop the gerrymandering that the state right-wing government has done over time. They are probably going to fight it and appeal it, but the judge ruled for the boundaries that mean that the left-leaning people will have a viable seat, because Salt Lake City itself is more liberal than the rest of the state, and we have never been represented for quite a long time. Anyway, things like that are coming out as well with the moon in Libra. Justice, balance, harmony. More of that is likely to come out. But you can see that every time the moon gets to about 24 degrees, it's going to aspect all of these. It's going to square Jupiter. It's going to make a quincunx to Uranus, adjustment, change to the big change maker. It's opposing the benevolent rebel or fighter for the outsiders, the table turner, Eris, and the alchemist, the magician, the medicine person, Chiron. Chiron tends to shine a light into the wounds that need to be released so that we can move on and heal and let go of. Okay, gets a bad kind of rap, in my opinion. And the moon is also really going to be at the point, because it will aspect Saturn, but then it will be at the focal point of another finger of destiny from Uranus and Neptune, who will exactly aspect each other this week. So when the moon hits 29 degrees Libra, it's activating this big change and aspect as well. See, we're in extraordinary times. Now, the other aspect we have before the moon leaves Libra is that Mercury over here whizzing along. Mercury retrogrades go by fast, so I tend to not sweat them too much, although the energies are very erratic, so just don't stress. It's going to be over soon. Mercury will make an aspect of opportunity to Pluto, which is death and rebirth and transformation, giving us another rethink and a redo about what we have to change from the inside out. But it's also going to reveal more shadow out in the world, because everything is as within as without. Eris will also exactly aspect talk to the hand asteroid Lilith. This is real table turning energy, hugely, especially with the heightened energy. Mercury will then aspect Vesta, the moon will aspect Vesta after it's moved into Scorpio. The moon will move into Scorpio, aspect Vesta, earth and water, saying, what are we purging on this new moon and what seeds are we planting from our inner flame? Lastly, Mercury again will actually oppose Sedna. Sedna is one of the big agents of change. She has this energy of being a bit like spiritual destiny through crisis. This is something we're all looking at together. What is our destiny as humanity, really? It's kind of like do or die time, really. If we don't wake up more one by one, do our own healing by the inside out, we are going to kill ourselves off, basically. We're not going to kill the planet off. The planet will be fine. And then the moon will meet Haumea in Scorpio, which is regeneration. Haumea and Pluto in this ongoing square all decade as well. Huge energies. On to November the 18th, which is the quieter day, but it's all mixing in together. The moon has moved into Scorpio, as you can see it. The moon will trine holistic health and preventative health asteroid Hygeia in Cancer, in the sign of family, nurturing, self-care, motherhood, all these kind of things, and basis of security in all ways. So we'll have a good look at that as we approach the new moon. The moon will also make a brief aspect of opportunity to Centaur Pholus that I've talked about quite a lot of times. This is kind of that cause and effect. The lids come off. We can no longer deny the cause and effect of past actions, both out there and from within, you know? We all know when we know better, we do better. More and more people are starting to wake up, right? And the moon will square Pallas Athena over here, which is, she's helping us to create a plan, if you like, or a strategy for writing this new future in many ways. Then Mercury will re-enter Scorpio. So now we've got the moon, Venus, Black Moon, Lilith, Haumea, and Mercury will go back into Scorpio for the rest of its retrograde. That's very intense, deep scorpionic energy. And Scorpio really is all about power games, manipulation, power from within, power over, people who we've given our power away to, or people who've exerted their power over people. Me and other astrologers have talked about it many times, that we are moving out of this power over hierarchical control and domination culture to move from this power into this power within culture. But it's taken a bit of time. And right after Mercury moves into Scorpio, pretty much the moon will meet Venus. And the moon will meet Venus at 15 degrees Scorpio when they are both 11 degrees away from the sun, which means that officially when Venus gets to 10 degrees from the sun, she is in the underworld behind the sun from our perspective for a long time. So Venus energy, she is kind of out there on the other side of the sun. I always kind of think, kind of, she's in her underworld regenerative time, and she's entering that in Scorpio. So when she re-emerges, which is not till early February, I think, it's a long time, as she emerges as evening star, which is love goddess. I'll probably do a whole video on the Venus cycle again for this cycle. She is coming together with the moon, our emotions, and saying, we have to change this. We have to create from that inside out, create that intimacy from the inside out to create, to quote internal family systems. They say that the internal family systems model of therapy is about creating intimacy from the inside out. It's basically astrology, what astrology is telling us, the phase we are in our collective evolution. November the 19th, moon over here, see, still at 15 degrees, has just been conjunct Venus. This means that both of them are at the same degree as the nodes. So first the moon aspects the nodes, then Venus aspects the nodes. Then also we can see Juno over here also aspects the nodes. This is the karmic path of potential in many ways for us collectively. This is where all the eclipses are happening. And at 15 degrees, this comes to 5 and 1. 1, new beginnings. 5, the number of change. They make 6, which is the number of the Great Mother. We are being really asked to move into understanding this sense of everything's interconnected, that all our actions ripple out in life. And then we can, once we understand that, we can return to the South Node and do meaningful work in the world, okay? And be a little bit humbled, right? You know, we've been in this culture that thinks that everything is all about greed, more, having more, doing all that kind of thing. And then the moon moves on in Scorpio to 17 degrees, squares Chariklo, but then aspects by trine Nessus. These two centaurs have been traveling at about the same degree for a while. Nessus, and a lot of people believe that the centaurs have come in to help us to heal. Nessus is poisons. Nessus is about outing the poisons. I kind of got this image when I looked at this morning of kind of putting leeches on. So we each have to out our own poisons, but also the poisons in society are being leached as well, if you like, bloodletting. And then Chariklo here, wife of Chiron, is the space holder, who's helping us to weave and spin a new story of what we want to create, to co-create in the world, dependent on how we see it. And then Mercury again. Okay, Mercury will exactly oppose Uranus. Now, Mercury is kind of lower mind. Uranus is kind of higher mind, you could say, in many ways. Mercury is, in a way, our mind in here. And Uranus is kind of like pulling the pieces, the bigger picture pieces in, pulling it all together. These two oppose each other again, but this is at the anaretic degree of, this is a liminal space of change, like a border crossing. We know this big change is coming, but now Mercury and Uranus brings us big breakthroughs, big ahas. With Mercury, both of them retrograde, kind of, we're going to be looking back at what needs to change, and then we can liberate ourselves and break free from these old patterns, right? So, and then Mercury will come back and oppose Uranus again later, but this is both retrograde. So, where am I? November the 19th. Right as Mercury opposes Uranus, Mercury is at perigee. That means Mercury is closest to Earth and it's retrograde. And then Uranus as well is opposing the Sun. So they're both really powerful places in their retrograde, making their impact even more. And then, of course, Uranus is kind of about lightning bolts and electricity. And here we have these solar storms, which is kind of why I talked about all that. This is intense energy. There is a risk of earthquake energy and that kind of stuff, earth moving energy through all of this, by the way. We might have a cat disturbing us in a minute. And then when the moon reaches 25 Scorpio, it passes Black Moon Lilith. Black Moon Lilith is very potent in Scorpio as well. She is kind of that raw elemental self. To talk about in women's terms, she's the part that's been shunned and refusing to submit. So she was shunned and turned into some kind of demon, child-eating monster. Black Moon Lilith is in Scorpio, in this sign of rebirth and potent rebirth from within, saying, no, we're not doing this anymore, right? And she's always there, you know, she will go around Scorpio fairly quick, but with all this intensity, this is astounding, to be quite honest. And then, of course, the moon will also square Talk to the Hand asteroid as well. And I want to say as well, the moon is also at apogee, which, you know, this is furthest away from the earth. So our emotions are quite deep and remote. You might need to do a lot of journey work or meditation to really tune in to what these deep feelings are that are emerging during this time. Then on to the 20th, early in the morning, we have the new moon. Again, I did that whole video. The 20th is just intense. I'm just going to tell you. 1:47 a.m. Eastern, we have the new moon. At 2:15 a.m., the moon meets Mercury. But they're all at 28 degrees, right? The new moon's at 28 degrees. Mercury's at 28 degrees. Then in the middle of all this, Vesta and Ceres square off. Ceres is at just 1 minute from her station direct degree. Again, that Venus star point. Oh, I forgot to mention, by the way, Jupiter and Saturn are speaking to each other in this water grand trine, and they also met at 0 Aquarius back on December the 21st, 2020. So that aspect's being activated as well as we move into this new paradigm. Amazing stuff. But then at 4:23 a.m. exactly, the Sun and Mercury meet exactly. But I will say that Mercury is already what's called Cazimi the Sun on the new moon. So the new moon is at 28 degrees 11 minutes, and then the moon meets Mercury at 28 degrees 25 minutes. They are at 16 minutes apart on the new moon. If it's within 17 minutes, that's the strictest kind of definition of in the heart of the sun. That's usually a moment, middle of the retrograde, dazzling clarity. Things start to become clear, come to light. Mercury is just opposed Uranus. Mercury is also aspecting Neptune. This is people really waking up. Okay, things are going to emerge, more names might be released, But, you know, what out there is just a reflection of what we need to see to do this healing from the inside out as we move into a power from paradigm rather than a power over paradigm. And at 4:23 a.m. as well, the moon has exactly the same moment as the Kazemi. In fact, you know, let me get that Kazemi. This day is just enormous. So you can see the Kazemi is here at, oh, I meant sun, sorry. 4:15, well, it says 4:23. Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, it's 4:23 a.m. exactly. But do remember it's 17 minutes either side too. So really this Kazemi is happening the whole period of this new moon. It's happening from when we enter November the 20th, and then we'll keep seeing it. I'll keep tracking it as we go through this day. But then, you know, there's the Kazemi. The moon has only moved to 29 degrees, will oppose Uranus. Incidentally, Uranus and Neptune are both at 29, 29, 11, 11. Oh. So then the moon will trine Uranus, still under the Kazemi. The moon will oppose Uranus, still under the sun Kazemi. Then the moon will enter Sagittarius and we'll start to think of shooting our arrows forward, but we're still in the dark moon phase. And the moon will oppose Sedna. Then the moon from Sagittarius will sextile Pluto, death and rebirth. So all these things are happening all in this really intense period. Then that I'm going to get this aspect exact, just so you can see how these things kind of build up. We have the first, I think it's the first, we have an exact Uranus sextile to Neptune. So here's Neptune still at 29, 29. Uranus still at 29, 29. Remember I said when the moon hit the end of Libra just at the start of the week, it would have been a finger of destiny. These two are speaking to each other. Mercury, though, is now out of the Kazemi officially. So they are now 31 minutes apart. So this is at 9:33 a.m. So that time from entering the 20th on Eastern time, midnight Eastern time, to, I don't know, maybe about 7 a.m., we are under this Kazemi, under this new moon. Black moon Lilith there as well. This is massive change. This new moon is not an ordinary new moon period, and I am convinced that more rot and secrecy and things that we have not seen before are going to come out, but it's how we respond to that and take our power back and take it from within and say, no, we're not going to do this. Then at 10:27 a.m., I'm not going to get these exact, Mercury and Black Moon Lilith will meet at 27 degrees Scorpio, and then the moon will exactly trine Ceres, and she is now at her station direct point, 22 degrees 30 minutes, which again is activating that Venus star point. You can also see that now Venus is under the beam. She's less than 10 degrees from the sun, so she's in her underworld of death and rebirth herself. Amazing. Then later, 4:41 p.m., the sun and Black Moon Lilith will also meet at 28 degrees, the degree of the new moon and the Kazemi. Black Moon Lilith, again, whatever. Then Black Moon Lilith, because I use the osculating or true Lilith, will exactly oppose Uranus, the big change maker, lightning bolts, aha moments, shock, though, sometimes, in the axis of resources and shared resources in all ways. Okay, so Uranus and Black Moon Lilith will oppose each other at 9:17 p.m. And then Black Moon Lilith will also trine Neptune. So, this message on the 20th of we are stepping into this time of recognizing our quantum nature of the interconnectedness of all that is. And this is how the only way we can work is to come and create that intimacy from the inside out so that we are more able to help others see it. And then we can co-create this future together. This message is hammering over and over again. The last major aspect I'm going to talk about on the 20th is Venus in her underworld now will square off to Cariclo and say, help us to kind of go into our own dark nature and feel what we really want to co-create here. Okay. Oof, what a day on the 21st. So let me just change the time again. I like to post it at the very start of the day. So on the 21st, which is Venus Day, she's now firmly in her underworld. So you can see she's getting closer and closer every minute. So, well, she's 12 degrees away from the sun, actually. Sorry. I still think she's in her underworld now, in the Scorpio, sign of Scorpio, where that is in the zodiac. I consider her to be in her underworld. If you want to see when the last moment you will see her is where you live, you can look on timeanddate.com and say something like timeanddate.com visible planets or something like that. Anyway, Black Moon Lilith will dip into Sagittarius. She's going to start moving in and out of Scorpio and Sagittarius, saying, where are we shooting our arrows to create the future? We're still very much in the dark moon, but Mars, he's been quiet up till now, but Mars in Sagittarius will aspect Pallas Athena. This is fire and air again, drive and will to create this new future, shoot our arrows to the future. Okay. And then Hecate over here reaches that 15-degree mark where Juno was and squares the nodes. I'm not going to go over everything. Hecate is the way shower. The moon, the Sagittarius moon. Oh, so excited about Sagittarius season because it's my season. Will sextile Pallas Athena and then will conjunct Mars. So in come our emotions saying, I really am inspired to change things. One example, because I'm feeling this already, is this thing in Utah. I'm first vice chair of the county progressive caucus. We are determined to try and elect a more progressive, in the way of Bernie Sanders, kind of candidate for this new seat that is going to be opening up in Utah, so that we have some more progressive representation taking us to Washington, D.C. Because, like I'm saying, the change comes from the inside out for you. We in my little progressive caucus realize that probably our best bet of creating some change is at this moment from within, inside out, in the Democratic Party, even though, there's lots of problems with the Democratic Party. So the sun on the 21st exactly opposes Uranus. Again, it's at that threshold, liminal. We know big changes are coming degree. Mercury opposed Uranus, the moon's opposed Uranus, Black Moon Lilith opposing Uranus over and over again. Our values systems and our attachment to the old ways is shifting and changing so fast. And then Uranus is at what's called perigee at that point. So, this is when it's most potent in the retrograde, other than the points of stationing retrograde and direct. And then the sun trines Neptune, because those two are still aspecting each other. So this is Uranus, big change, Neptune at the very last degree of the universe, in the birth canal of birthing the new paradigm, but also in the very last throes of us kind of forming in that womb space. Okay, so we are really beginning to realize that not only is the universe quantum in nature, we are quantum in nature, and as without, so within, as above, so below. It's all happening from our perspective within. Oh, this is going to be a long moon. Then in Sagittarius, crosses all this lot, it squares the nodes, all those things again. Again, this is all a lot about faith and belief as well. Belief in ourselves, letting go of faith that the old ways were working because they're not anymore, but then moving to do things in a more aligned, holistic, and meaningful way. So this is, again, I've repeated these things so many times. Venus will now trine Nessus. Poisons, remember, abuses of power, all the poisons, the toxins that we are seeing now and that need to be let by those leeches. Oh my goodness. Now Vesta as well will actually sextile Haumea, regeneration. This Vesta is kind of, the institutions and the structures of our world, man-made rules, man-made structures, how our lives are set up. We have to go into our inner flame and say, what do we want to rebirth now? What structures? Ongoing process again then. Sagittarius moon will then aspect Chariklo and square Nessus. Again, those two working together. Out seeing the poisons, outing them, then weaving a new story, holding the space for healing. On to the last day. Oh no, we've got one more. Let me go back. Actually, I'll leave it here because at the end of November the 21st, on Friday, Ceres will station direct 2 degrees 30 minutes exactly. I'm going to do a whole video on that, I think. So she is our needs met and unmet. In Aries, she's saying the only person that can truly make sure your own needs are met is you. That doesn't mean you can't find relationships with people that meet those needs, but first you have to identify your core needs, Aries, your inner needs. Who are you? What are your needs? You start to meet your own needs, doing the self-care and everything, and then you attract people who will help you meet your needs. Or nobody else can do everything for you, in essence. But look, whoa, Sagittarius season begins. It formally begins at 8:35 p.m. on the 21st Eastern Time on a Venus day. So 6:35 p.m. is the start of my birthday month. So on Eastern Time. So a reminder, that you can sponsor me for my 10K, which is on the 27th. This is the day, though, that I am going to close enrollment for my membership. So if you want to sponsor me to get the greater discount for my membership, do it by this Venus day. I'm actually going to close the doors. I'm going to shut down enrollment at 8:35 p.m. Eastern on Sagittarius season starting day, so that I can go and do other things and train. Anyway, Mercury on the very end of the 21st. After that, squares off to Talk to the Hand asteroid at that 25-degree mark. It has aspect, it's activating this water grand trine again. Neptune will come up and activate it. Again, this is just such a cleansing, purging time of inner poisons, inner traumas, letting them go, visioning for the future, setting those seeds, saying, where are we wanting to go? I've recommended loads of things, but there's like the Mind Magic book is brilliant, all those things. But on to the 22nd. Here's the moon finishing up its time in Sagittarius. We'll trine Chiron, we'll trine Eris, then we'll square Saturn, then we'll sextile asteroid Lilith, and so was activating all of those things in the visionary sign of Sagittarius, and this passionate sign. You might notice I'm rather fired up, but that's, yeah. Mercury over here, though, still in deep Scorpio, will actually trine Saturn next. So it's just opposed Uranus, then we'll trine Saturn. Okay, because it's going backwards, so it's revisiting all of these aspects. Last few aspects for this week. What a big week. The moon then will come up and square Neptune. And meanwhile, the moon crosses the galactic center again, the very center of our Milky Way galaxy that we live in. Really, this is all happening together. The galactic center emits new energy, new truths, new awarenesses that we need to know, and kind of defrags the old memories. And so the moon activates this every month, but Neptune is sat again once more at that last degree of the zodiac. Then we end the week. I'm actually going to move the chart on for this. So the moon, as we end this week, will enter the grounded sign of Capricorn. And this is when, you can start to go, okay, this is an initiating sign, a cardinal sign. This is when you can start to take action. Now the moon will, at 0 degrees, will move 30 degrees beyond the sun. So the moon is starting to gain light right at the end of the week. So that's the start to take action, to co-create the seeds of intention that you set in this dark moon period. All right, so that will enter Capricorn at 5:52 p.m. and then Mercury over here will trine Jupiter. Okay, so Mercury is exactly trining Jupiter, still that watergram trine that has been potent, as Venus is going to come up and then activate that watergram trine. Oh my goodness, this is just crazy time. But Venus, look, now is at 20 degrees. The sun, there's 30 degrees in each sign. The sun is at 0 degrees. So they're still slightly more than 10 degrees apart. So I misspoke earlier in the week. It's hard to keep track of all these things. But Venus really is about to enter her underworld. So I'm actually going to get to that point before we finish this call and before we look at the cards. Then the last major aspect of the day is that the Capricorn moon on one of the cardinal or world axis points will then move to 2 degrees and will square off to Ceres, which is still stationed direct. So that's how we end the week, saying, okay, time to act on all these things that the sky, that the planets, that the cosmos has been telling us. Okay. So I'm actually just quickly, before I move on to the cards, going to move this on by hours. And I'm just going to monitor those degrees a bit because Venus is moving fast. So maybe I should go a day at a time, because I do want to tell you when Venus will enter her underworld officially. So 22, 28. There we go. Okay, so I'm just going to go back minutes. Sorry about this, but I should have got it exact before, because I hate misspeaking, but it happens when there's so much going on. Oh, I should have gone another hour, but if I do that now, you know, it's probably going to be too much. Let me just let it settle for a second and go back an hour. Venus 24:19, the sun at 24:18. So, you know, that's almost exactly 10 degrees. So, you know, just a little bit before that. So it's actually going to be on November the 26th, early in the morning, Eastern time, that Venus and the sun officially get 10 degrees apart. Oh, there we go. I will get it more exact later. Oh, I'm gonna stop it now. Okay, so it actually is, it's probably going to be about around midnight between Eastern time, between the 25th and the 26th. I will get that more exact for next week, but we're really close. And then it's a potent thing, and I am going to do a whole video about that Venus entering her underworld and talk to you about the Venus cycle. But time for the cards. So the first card I pulled was the Witch of Threads from the Sacred Threads Tarot. But this is I Am Wise. But look at her. She's blindfolded. She's got her eyes closed. This is inner wisdom. Okay. This is knowing that you have the red threads of myths within you. The quotes to go with this are, no, I'm not going to read that quote because I don't care. So this is about going within. This is the ancient crone holding a strong ancient feminine energy. She's much older than anyone would think. Some might be wary of her, blah, 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 blah. This is teaching you of darkness and light and how they are actually the same. If you ask, she will walk with you through your inner labyrinth to balance your light and dark within. Then the card everybody dreads, Death. This is actually in this deck. This is I Am, oh, wrong way up. This is I Am Separation, but let me read you the quote. It's only when we truly know and understand that we have a limited time on earth, that we have no way of knowing when our time is up, we will then begin to live each day to the fullest, as if it were the only one we had, because it's the only one we have right now. It's the only one we know of right now, right? So this is about kind of that death of the illusion of separation, but also the death of an old cycle and the rebirth of the new. Okay. So something is leaving and something is being rebirthed within, basically. And this is the Two of Cups, the last week. This is union, or I am closeness. Love is union with somebody or something outside oneself under the condition of retaining the separateness and integrity of one's own self. That's Ceres in Aries. So reflect on your connections and relationships, how you share, how you bond, how you communicate, how you listen, how you love, and importantly, how you honor, love, and communicate yourself. Being deeply loved by someone gives you strength, while loving someone deeply gives you courage. Lao Tzu. Or the first quote was Eric Fromm. But you have to love yourself first. Okay? That's the whole lesson of what we're going through right now. And that brings me to the last card, the Witch. Control. Relax, nothing is under control. I like that one. Anyway, no woman alive today needs a dictionary to show what control means within a toxic patriarchy. She's experienced it 1,000 different ways before she's hit puberty. It's alive within the curves of her psyche, in the expanse of her hips, in the marrow of her bones. It is domination and restraint. But in a balanced psyche and in a balanced culture, control can mean something else entirely. A witch experiences control through cooperation rather than competition. She's engaged with all the parts of her psyche in an attempt to coordinate rather than dominate. You are being asked right now to embrace all the inhabitants of your inner realm, because each deserves respect and a place at the table. Even the unruly, the inconvenient, the ugly, making a space for all under the banner of wild inclusion and giving voice to the shame, malice, and anger, as well as every other outlawed part of the psyche. Is the way we create, and this is the way we create integrity, ensuring that no part of our inner realm is involved with factions, divisions, or rebellions. When your intent is to create rather than compete, you don't have to dominate. Your influence is enough. This is power with rather than power over. Invite whatever is bothering you today into the realm of inclusion and assert your authority. That sums up the whole message, and I honestly just did pull that card. So anyway, a reminder, now I'm opening the message for the membership for the Spiral Codex until Sagittarius season starts on the 22nd. I will put the date and time in below. And one of the main reasons I decided to open it up longer was because I'm getting all these donations for the food bank as well. So I'm helping them. I'm aiming to beat my target for the food bank. But you can also just donate as well, $5 even. You don't have to donate the minimum of $50 for to get the discount codes for the membership. You know, I appreciate anything that puts food in people's mouths. So thank you for the generous donations so far.